Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and it's just me tonight. Scheduling got away from me, and, well, quite frankly, I just couldn't find a co-host in a very short period of time. But that's okay, because tonight we are going to talk about famous cigar smokers. It's a kind of a general topic, you know, but people, I think cigar smokers like to know. We see a sort of geek out on the celebrities that enjoy cigars as well, because, you know, for whatever reason, just like, oh, hey, that guy, I like that guy, and he likes something I like, and whatever. So, but also, I think it kind of adds an air of legitimacy to you know what we do, that we enjoy knowing that people that for whatever reason, be it their acting skill, their athletic prowess, you know, political acumen, whatever it may be, you know, we like knowing that these people also enjoy a pastime that we enjoy. And so today we're going to talk about that. But we are first going to introduce the cigar that we are smoking. And I kind of have a little bit of a special one for myself tonight. I was digging through the humidor and I found this. And it holds a special place in my personal cigar history. So tonight I am going to be smoking the Montecristo White Series. This is a 6x54 Toro featuring an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, binder from Nicaragua, and Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. This cigar was the first cigar that I smoked in what is now the main cigar journey that I have gone on. The first cigar that I smoked was, I believe, a Montecristo tube back in 2004 in Fort Lauderdale with my friend Carl. However, you know, that was one time on the beach, you know, 20-something years old, you know, young 20s, and, you know, it was something adult to do. But now, in 2018, I was out in Vegas, and I went to the Montecristo Lounge, and it was gorgeous, and it was just one of those things where when in Rome, you know, try a cigar. And so I bought a couple of cigars, and what I bought were two of this cigar. And so this was the first one that I smoked, and this is the one that is responsible for putting the monkey on my back. So I figured, you know what, we're talking about famous cigar smokers. Why not go ahead and fire up something that, you know, means something to me as well. So anyway, it's time to cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by Dan the Man Ponder over there at Riverman Cigar Company. And guys, I've been telling you, Saturday, September 30th, he's got his annual rolling event. He's got a couple of manufacturers coming out to the shop. He's got some live music that's going to be there. There's going to be food, and it's just going to be a fun time underneath that 1,500 square foot covered patio. He's got all kinds of other great cigars that he's been getting in that will be available for sale. So if you're in the St. Louis area, you're going to want to go by and check it out. If you are not in the St. Louis area, well, you're probably going to miss out. But he does do mail order, so you can give him a call and see if he will ship. He does ship, but, you know, some things may be limited to in-person attendees. But in general, just call him up, see what you can do about placing an order. He does do mail order, so he can get a box of or a shipment of cigars sent to you right away. And that's Riverman Cigar Company of Crestwood, Missouri. And with that, it's time that I go ahead and cut my cigar. And while we're speaking about events and dates to keep up on, do not forget, so that is Saturday, September 30th, that Dan is doing his thing. On Friday, September 22nd, and Saturday, September 23rd, so the weekend prior, that's when I'm going to be hosting PulpitFest here in St. Louis. That Friday will begin at, let's just say 4 o'clock. People have been asking what time. I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it and say, let's say 4 p.m. at Top Shooters there. They're open till 1 o'clock in the morning, and the last few years we have closed them down. So realistically, there's plenty of time to hang out and party there. But we'll be hanging out at Top Shooters in Columbia, Illinois, where we will be smoking, drinking, eating, hanging out by the fire pit, just in general having a good time. And then on Saturday, September 23rd, that's when we're going to do a little cigar tour around St. Louis. I know we're going to start off at Riverman at 11 o'clock in the morning so that you guys can check out his humidor, do a little register bomb, have a cigar, hang out, that kind of thing. I have been mulling over the prospect of if we're doing 2 stops or if we're doing 3 stops. I don't want to rush it. So part of me is like 3 stops. I feel like we're only giving enough time to like maybe burn a cigar at each place and whatever else. So it may technically only be 2 official stops. But from Riverman, I think there's going to be a break time for people to go and do things. Like I said, I know there's some of you guys that are coming to town that you have other plans that you want to accomplish during the day on Saturday, and that's fine. That's perfectly cool. And then I know for a fact that evening we will be circling up at Lit in Chesterfield, where we will be hanging out there and having cigars, and they've got a great bar with all sorts of different alcohols available for your adult consumption enjoyment. So it's going to be a fun time. But that is Friday, September 22nd, and Saturday, September 23rd. So let's be real, about less than 2 weeks. We're talking 10 days or so from now. So that's coming up very rapidly. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and do the cold draw on this Montecristo White Series. Very creamy. It's a very creamy cold draw. Very, that Connecticut, you really have a lot of that Connecticut coming through. It's a very good, creamy, light cold draw there. So now we'll go ahead and fire this guy up so that I can start smoking and so that I can get onto the business of the episode. So, get this thing going here. All right. Well, now that is lit, why don't we talk about famous cigar smokers? So, needless to say, if you Google famous cigar smokers, you're going to come up with a wide variety of lists, which is what I did. So, there are some that are very obvious. For example, Winston Churchill. Everybody knows that Winston Churchill was a big cigar smoker, and according to a list assembled by Cigar Aficionado, his favorite cigar was the Romeo y Julieta. Now, then John F. Kennedy is a close second, and his favorite cigar is a Petite Upmann. And as the story goes, he sent his representative around, Pierre Salinger, around, his press secretary, Pierre Salinger, around with less than 24 hours to round up as many of those Cuban Upmanns as he could get before he signed the Cuban embargo. And I guess Salinger managed to round up 1,200 cigars, and then Kennedy signed the embargo, and, well, that's been that. So, take that as you will. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's a fun story, but it's a really douchey move. And to be honest, he kind of an abuse of the power of that situation. I mean, he knew that was kind of crappy. Fidel Castro, I'm going to skip him because we don't need to talk about him. George Burns, a prominent comedian of many, many decades, and always known to have a cigar in his hand. And his favorite was the El Producto. Although, realistically, I think he would have taken anything he was given. Mark Twain, also a very well-known cigar smoker. His favorite cigar listed here is anything except a Havana. So I guess he was not a fan of the Cuban cigars. Milton Berle, favorite cigar, H. Upmann, also a comedian. Bill Cosby. Look, I'm just gonna say, let's talk about Bill Cosby for a moment. Bill Cosby is one of those guys that I kind of feel like Sorry, I had to puff my cigar. Due to his actions, I feel like we should probably stop talking about Bill Cosby. I don't feel like he should be included on this list. I don't feel like we should be acknowledging. It's kind of one of those things where when you do something so egregious, just so incredibly egregious, you just kind of got to cut him loose. And I'm not saying that the Cosby Show was not a boundary barrier breaker, whatever the hell you want to call it, in the 80s for black actors. I'm not going to say that some of the things that he talked about in the black community maybe aren't relevant, but I kind of feel like when you drug and rape women, it tends to overshadow all the good stuff that you maybe did. So I'm going to say that I'm also going to skip Bill Cosby on this list because, like Fidel Castro, he's a douchebag. And I think it's fair to go ahead and skip him. Cigar Aficionado's next one, Red Auerbach. Now, Dave Garofalo up at Two Guys, he had Red Auerbach at one of his anniversary dinners. And apparently Red Auerbach really liked Candela cigars. So you got that going on. However, Cigar Aficionado lists his favorite as the Hoyo de Monterrey, which that might be accurate. Maybe he liked the Candela Hoyo de Monterrey. I don't know. Jack Nicholson, haven't really seen or heard much out of him. Well, quite a while. I guess he retired from acting. His favorite is a Montecristo, which, again, is something I'm smoking tonight. Here's a fun one. This one I liked. Babe Ruth. Now, apparently, Babe Ruth, when he lived in Boston, he invested into a local cigar factory that produced nickel smokes, and it had his picture plastered on the wrapper. And so his favorite cigar was the Babe Ruth Perfecto. So I guess he liked his own cigar enough that he just smoked the hell out of them. Now, as the story goes, listed here on Cigar Aficionado, I guess one night he snuck a woman into a room that he was sharing with Ernie Shore, which was his Red Sox pitcher. And I guess Shore had trouble sleeping given the sounds coming from Babe Ruth's bed in the same room. And the next day, Shore noticed 4 or 5 cigar butts next to a sleeping Babe Ruth. And the Babe, his explanation later was, "Oh, that. I like a cigar every time I'm finished." Good for you, Babe. Good for you. Keep it. You know what? That just goes to show you can be a fat guy and still, get the job done. From there, they stopped listing favorite cigars, but I'll just kind of go through the list and kind of touch on a few. We got Al Capone. Obviously, Al Capone, he kind of has that gangster look of always having a cigar. And, apparently it was well-earned. Groucho Marx, he always had a cigar going. Bill Clinton, I mean, let's be real. Bill Clinton, he's got some well-known stories about a cigar that we don't need to get into here. Michael Jordan, if you guys haven't watched the documentary about him, the documentary series, I should say, about him, I mean, every time they show him in his house talking about something in his career, he's always smoking a cigar. So, Jordan loves the cigars. Now, he loves the Cubans, and that's the thing with a lot of these rich guys. They love their Cubans, and I don't know if it's a status thing or what, but they pursue the Cubans. Personally, I think Michael Jordan would be better served finding himself a New World cigar that was better. I can think of about 4 or 5 that I would recommend to him off the top of my head. But hey, if he wants to invest in a communist country and, pursue those cigars, that's, I guess, the GOAT's prerogative. Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what I love about Arnold Schwarzenegger? When he was running for governor, he wanted to smoke cigars, and they kind of were like, you probably shouldn't do that, and he did it anyway. And then when he became governor, he wanted to smoke cigars, and they said, you can't smoke in the governor's mansion. And so what did he do? He put up a giant tent in the backyard, and he smoked out there, and he did all of his meetings out there, and he did whatever the hell he wanted out in the tent, because that's where he could smoke. And you know what? Good for the governor. I like that. Ron Perlman, also an actor. We like Ron Perlman. He's all about cigars. Let's see. Yeah, there's some of these guys that like some we know, some we don't know. Bruce Willis, Michael Douglas, W.C. Fields, Orson Welles, Harrison Ford. Now that's one I didn't realize was a cigar smoker. Apparently, they don't list what his favorite is, but they say he really likes going out to his Wyoming ranch where he can puff in peace. I had no idea that Harrison Ford was a cigar smoker. So I guess, that's something cool about Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Tom Cruise apparently is a cigar smoker. He likes his Cuban Cohibas. Again, another rich guy that likes his Cubans. David Letterman, Danny DeVito. Now the fun story about Danny DeVito is he was going on a transatlantic flight, and he wanted a cigar. And and I guess this was before, I don't know if it was before regulations, whatever. He wanted a cigar. And the stewardess basically told him, you can have one if everybody else on this plane agrees. And so Danny DeVito himself gets up and goes to every single person in the entire plane and asks them, hey, I really want to have a cigar, but they said that I have to ask all of you first, and are you cool with it? And apparently, as the story goes, as told by Danny DeVito on, I think, the Graham Norton show, he got to the last guy who was sleeping. And so Danny DeVito, he's like, man, I really don't want to wake him up. It's not going to make him happy that I woke him up just to ask him if I can have a cigar. But he's the last guy. He's the only one that hasn't said yes. So he asked the waitress or, stewardess, like, do I have to wake him up? And the stewardess like, everybody has to agree. So he wakes this guy up. And the guy wakes up and he's like, what do you want? And he's like, I want to have a cigar, but I have to ask everybody, will you let me out? Is it okay if I smoke a cigar? And the guy looks at him and he goes, the only way that I'll say yes is if I can have one too. And so Danny DeVito got two of them out, and this guy and Danny DeVito lit up a cigar and smoked on the flight. So good for Danny DeVito. Thomas Edison, Sylvester Stallone, Dan Rather. I didn't know that, but apparently he has some cigars from Fidel Castro. So, good for Dan Rather. Adolphus Busch. Now, this is a St. Louis connection here. So, Adolphus Busch, he is the beer baron who brought America the Pilsner beer that became Budweiser. And I guess one day, according to the story here on Cigar Aficionado, I'm giving them credit, he was over in Paris with a St. Louis restaurateur named Tony Faust. And Busch was trying to teach his friend to speak French. And while reciting the order to him, the table, he would speak it to Faust, and then Faust would repeat it to the waiter. And then at the end of the meal, Faust turned to Busch and said, how do we order some of the best cigars in the house? So Busch told him what to say, and when Faust repeated the request to the waiter promptly presented him with the bill. So that's how Adolphus Busch got out of the bill of that dinner, I guess. So that's pretty fun. I like that. Mel Gibson, John Travolta, John Wayne, Demi Moore, George Patton. We've got the General George Patton there. He traveled with a humidor full of Cubans. Now granted he was that was all pre communist and whatever else. So you got that going on. Tip O'Neill, he was the House Speaker under Reagan. Elvis Presley had a cigar. Milton Hershey. So Mr. Hershey, he apparently smoked 8 to 10 cigars a day, and he continued that habit when he moved to Cuba to produce sugar. So, Mr. Chocolate liked the cigars as well. Tom Selleck would smoke the Montecristo No. 2, and Jim Belushi, he likes cigars. Michael Richards, that's Kramer on Seinfeld. He apparently enjoys Cuban cigars as well. Oh, let's see. Who else do we know here? There's plenty of people on this. Pierce Brosnan, Wayne Gretzky, Ernest Hemingway, Harvey Keitel. There's a ton of these guys. And Nicolas Cage, James Woods, John Grisham. He smokes 4 cigars a week. So, he's not he's got rookie numbers. He's got to get those numbers up. But, yeah, that's the thing, guys. There's plenty of famous cigar smokers that are out there that we can, find some commonality with. And that goes to what I hear it all the time. And that goes to what I've heard from so many different people is that cigars are the great equalizer. They bring people together, no matter what your job, what your socioeconomic class, whatever it is. At the end of the day, you sit down, you fire up a cigar, and you're just another person sitting in the lounge, and it's a wonderful thing. Captain Kirk, William Shatner, also enjoyed cigars, and I don't have the sound drop of him anymore. But yeah, William Shatner liked his cigars. So you got that going on. So anyway, let's talk about this Montecristo White Series. Smoking wonderfully. I have a very good burn line going on it. And it's very smooth. Very smooth. Very mild. I do have one little spot that I want to correct. It's very smooth, very mild. It's it's fun. It's one of those things I look back on it and, I think about the stuff that I'm smoking now. And I'm like, my God, it would have slit my throat back then. But, this was a cigar back when I started, And it's still, it's obviously still a cigar, but it's not to my palate anymore. And so that I find that fascinating how much my palate has changed in the, 5 years now that I've been smoking cigars. And it's just fascinating to me. I haven't done a retrohale yet, so let's try that. Let's see if there's anything on that. Slight, very, very slight black pepper on the retrohale. Not nearly anything to cause any sort of issue. Realistically, it's just a very good, very creamy, mild cigar. And, it seems to be very well made construction-wise. It's the draw on it's really good. The smoke production has been good when puffing on it. It's not like it's smoking a ton just when it's just sitting there, but it is smoking well when I draw on it. And, the burn line's been good. So that's nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Why don't we now go ahead and let's do this. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. So, what have I been watching lately? I finished up the second season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. For those of you who aren't into that, sorry. It's a really good show. It's been really entertaining. I really liked it. For those of you who are into that kind of thing, the crossover episode they did with Star Trek Lower Decks was amazing. And the musical episode they did a musical episode this season, and it was great. The physics of the whole thing, kind of why it had to happen, that was a little funky, but you know what? It's Star Trek. Who cares? But it was really good, and I give them credit for trying something different and out of the box. And they ended the season with the cliffhanger. I desperately want more, so the cliffhanger did its job, and now I'm sitting back waiting for more. What else have I been watching? I did start this season of Star Trek Lower Decks after I finished Strange New Worlds, but apparently, unlike previously when they would just blast, I think they did that. I'm pretty sure they just blasted out the whole season. Maybe not. Maybe they did do it weekly. I don't know, but they're doing it weekly, and that pisses me off. I don't like it when these streaming services put stuff out weekly. I want them to just blast it out because I just want to binge it. I just want to watch it. What else? I did start watching Joe Dirt the other night. Haven't watched Joe Dirt in a very long time. And let me tell you guys, that movie stands up. I forgot about a lot of the jokes in Joe Dirt. I always remember the fireworks stand come the 4th of July. But I mean, there's all kinds of shit in that movie that I just had forgotten about. Like when the meteor comes down, and he's walking around town with this meteor in the little red wagon behind him, and come to find out it's just a giant frozen lump of poop that had come out of an airplane, and it froze at like 36,000 feet, and just come and he's like walking around with this giant lump of shit, and just I don't know, just all the wackiness in that movie. And Kid Rock's in the movie, and whatever. It's such a bizarre movie, and I've forgotten how much I liked it, and I continue to say that movie is evidence that David Spade was robbed, because when they did that Tiger King drama series, when Peacock did that drama series all about Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin, and the one gal from SNL played Carol Baskin and whatnot. David Spade was robbed because he is the Tiger King in Joe Dirt. He's nicer. He's significantly nicer. So he'd have had to figure out a way to be a dick. But let's be real, it's David Spade. He's a dick in a lot of things that he plays. So he could have pulled it off. And I feel very strongly David Spade was screwed out of playing Joe Exotic in that drama series, which I never watched, because why would I want to watch something that's the fictional like reenactment of true life stuff that there's a documentary series that's out that I've already watched? I've watched the reality. Why do I need to then go and watch actors portray the reality? You know what I mean? It's kind of like when they did that O.J. Simpson trial show on FX recently, like the last couple of years. I mean, granted, I was young, but like I was around. I remember the O.J. Simpson trial. I remember being in junior high and like my teachers wheeling the TV into the cafeteria so that the whole school could watch the verdict be read and everything like that. I mean, which, by the way, in hindsight is really fucking weird. Like, it's really, really weird that these teachers would roll a TV into the cafeteria so a bunch of 7th and 8th graders could watch the O.J. Simpson trial verdict. I mean, like, I really think it was all about them. They wanted to watch it, and they just happened to be on lunch duty at the time, so like, screw it, we'll let the kids watch it too. And I find that very bizarre. But anyway, yeah, so I don't understand I mean, at least that there's been 30 years worth of time that's gone by between the event and the docu-series or the drama series that FX did. Whereas with, this thing on Peacock about Tiger King, I mean, literally that documentary came out on Netflix in 2020, and I'm wanting to say it was maybe 2021, maybe 2022. Maybe 2022, but I'm thinking 2021 that Peacock had that series out with the dramatization of the whole thing. So it's like, what the hell was the point of that? You capitalized. You fully just capitalized. It was a money grab, and it was pointless and whatever. I don't know. Hopefully not that many people watched it, because Tiger King was entertaining. I don't know about the drama series, but Tiger King was entertaining. What else have I been watching lately? I don't know. Otherwise, I've been super busy. I've been very busy, getting work stuff caught up, podcast stuff going, PulpitFest stuff preparations. There's just been all kinds of stuff going. So the fact that I was able to steal a little bit of time to watch some Star Trek and start watching. I didn't even start watching Joe Dirt. I figure that's a victory in and of itself. So anyway, I guess that's the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report. This episode seems to be burning along rather quickly here. So I will endeavor to stretch this out a little bit for you. But realistically, guys, I'm flying solo, so the odds are it's going to be what it is. So in terms of other updates, I gave you guys the PulpitFest update that, kind of what's going on there. Again, I just want to be clear because, In previous years, PulpitFest is coordinated up with Dan's event at Riverman. I just want to be clear, we are talking 2 different weekends. It's just the way the calendar fell. Like I said before, I have my son the weekend that Dan is having his event, and it requires a UN negotiating delegation to switch weekends, and I opted not to do that. But that's okay. It's one of those things. It works out. For those of you local here, you've got 2 weekends of cigar fun. For those of you coming in for Pulpit Fest, we're still going to go by Dan's place so you can check it out. Everybody wins. It's just one of those things. And then the other update, I just want to remind all of my Florida listeners that on Wednesday, October the 18th, I will be down in Palm Coast, Florida at the Ash and Ale Cigar Lounge and with Ken Clarich, and we will be hanging out with Mickey Pegg of All Saints Cigars. And you guys ought to come by, check it out, say hi. Like I said, I'll be there. Mickey will be there. Ken will be there. It's Florida. I mean, you're in Florida. It's not a novelty to you, but to me, coming from St. Louis, it's a big deal. So yeah, I'll be down there in Florida and hanging out, and that'll be a fun time. And then it'll be good. I'm looking forward to some good weather. Pulpit Fest, looking ahead, long range forecast here. We're looking at mid 70s for the highs, like 50s for the low. So it'll be great fire pit night on Friday night. And I don't know how much better that forecast can look. And as for Palm Coast in October, haven't looked, but I imagine. Sorry, my cigar went out. I imagine it's going to be gorgeous. So that's what I'm counting on. Let's go ahead and let's do this now. This would normally be the time that I give some information about My Monthly Cigars, but I've hired that out this week, so take it away.
My Monthly Cigars is a premium cigar subscription service. It comes in a variety of different size boxes at affordable prices. Use offer code PULPIT and get free shipping on your first box and 20% off any items in the online store at mymonthlycigars.com.
That's offer code PULPIT. Thanks. Guys, make sure when you're over there at My Monthly Cigars, aside from checking out the subscription boxes, you also check out the fucking good coffee, because he does have the lounge blend, the daily press, which is the official Cigar Pulpit coffee, all kinds of great blends available through fucking good coffee. And, they pair so well with cigars. You should really try some. I have some in my kitchen, and I'm not even much of a coffee drinker, but I have some fucking good coffee in there, freely available and ready to drink. So, for what it's worth, get some fucking good coffee. Anyway, what else can we do here? I will admit I didn't count on this going only like 30 minutes. You know what? Screw it. Let's do this.
Guess what, motherfucker?
I did this on Friday, but guess what? It's time for 3 cigars we smoked and enjoyed this week. And I'm just going to do 3 cigars that I smoked and enjoyed this weekend. So since I last recorded with Mike, which was Thursday, I have smoked a couple. I know I smoked a Crux Habano Epicure, and the fine folks at Crux were so nice to send me a few of those. I want to give a shout out to the fine folks at Crux for sending me a few of those, because I am in love with that blend. And it's the new one. It's got the kind of creamy yellow band on it. I love the Crux packaging. It's very, very bright and vibrant and colorful, and it really stands out in the humidor. They have those white and colorful they're white with the whatever color is on the band boxes. And so the orange one had been my previous favorite, but orange and red, I think. Well, no. I think the red's the Connecticut. I think it was the orange one I really dug. But man, this yellow one that's come out, the Habano, that's the top of their line for me at this point. So that was a really good one. Additionally, what else have I smoked recently? I had a Yagua. I dug through my humidor and I found my box of Yaguas, and I smoked a Yagua, and I've been I enjoyed that. And then I'll tell you, the one that I probably have been smoking the most recently and the most frequently lately has been the Charter Oak Habano. I bought that box from two guys, and I still, for the life of me, guys, $95 for a box of 20 of these cigars. I don't know. There's better deals out there, but like not many, and it smokes so wonderfully. The wrapper issues that I was describing before with it, they must have fixed, because I have not had nearly as many wrapper issues with this. I had one that did kind of split on me a little bit, but I think that one was because I think my deep V went a little too deep, and so it kind of cracked it a little bit. So, you got to be a little ginger, but that's okay. It's okay. It worked. But anyway, so that's been my 3 cigars I smoked and enjoyed this week. Now, coming up on the show this Friday, I think Mike Brinker's going to be back. We're going to hang out and talk, and we'll figure something else. We'll figure something out to talk about. I don't know. He's big into football, so I'm sure he might have an update about week 1 of football and heading into the weekend with week 2. And then coming up on Tuesday, or maybe flip that, reverse it. I don't know. The next 2 shows are going to be Mike Brinker and Nick Gervais of My Monthly Cigars. I don't know which sequence it's going to be in. Nick might be Friday and Mike might be Tuesday, or Mike might be Friday and Nick might be Tuesday. We'll figure it out. It doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is those 2 guys are going to be on next to hang out and chat for a little while. And then going forward from there, so that'll be this Friday, and that'll be the Tuesday of PulpitFest week. And then the 22nd episode, I will have to, figure out what's going to happen with that one, because I will say at PulpitFest we will be recording. There's a very real possibility that I'll be recording Friday night at Top Shooters, because that tends to be where I think the most amount of people are going to be. So I want to get as many of the attending parishioners to pop on, say hi, and hang out as much as possible. So that'll be the Tuesday following Pulpit Fest. But that Friday of Pulpit Fest, realistically, I don't know what you're going to get that day. We'll figure it out. Anyway, Montecristo White Series. I'm talking too much. But, like I said, it's a nice blast from the past for me. I'm enjoying it because it's a nice, easy cigar, but it's a nice, mellow, easy, creamy cigar. Now, I say that with the palate of somebody who smokes medium to full-bodied cigars. If you were to give this to somebody who's never smoked a cigar before, it might not hit them quite as mild as it's hitting me. I don't remember it quite being this mild when I first smoked it. I remember it having a little bit more to it. But again, that's been 5 years and many, many, many cigars ago. So would I recommend this to a brand new smoker who's never smoked one before? Yes, I would, because that's what I got onto it with. But is it going to be a nothing burger for them? No, it's going to have a little something to it. I do think... Hang on. There is still a little bit of that black pepper on the retrohale. There is a little present black pepper on the retrohale. Not so much on the smoking experience. On the smoking experience, it's just very light and creamy. Very mild and creamy. But on the retrohale, you do get that little bit of black pepper to it, and I think that that's where the flavor lies in the cigar, is doing that. So, for what it's worth, if you're a regular cigar smoker and you give it a try and you don't normally retrohale, go ahead and try it because, I mean, you've all heard me hacking up a lung when I'm retrohaling, and, you know, this one is no big deal. So give it a try. And if you're not, and if you are somebody who retrohales, then that's where you're going to get your flavor. That's where you're going to get your spice notes. That's where you're going to get additional notes off of it. So anyway, that's that. Like I said, guys, it's a bit of a short one this time, but hopefully, you know, it's entertaining enough. And I will make sure that we get more to the next couple of shows. So we got that going on. You can follow me on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit, as well as on Facebook, where we have the Cigar Pulpit Parishioners group. There's all kinds of fun stuff happening in that group. Pictures being posted, stories being shared, information being shared, things of that nature. So if you're not a member of that, make sure you jump in on that. I'm on Twitter/X, but I really don't do much of anything on it. Every once in a while I dabble when I remember, but that's been my problem is it's not a platform I hit up regularly, so it's hard for me to remember. I am on YouTube where you can watch this, although admittedly this one is me sitting here in the dark. I mean, I have my ring light, but, you know, it's admittedly in the dark. And then Ask the Boys. I do need your calls for Ask the Boys. Area code 863-874-0000. Get those calls in, and we will address your questions, concerns, whatever, at the end of the month. And I believe Mike put out a question about, you know, what are your favorite cigars to smoke outdoors if you're doing stuff outdoors. I would not recommend the Montecristo White Series for that. You know, as we discussed in that episode, you know, you lose so much of the aroma of the cigar when you're outside because Mother Nature takes it away with the wind. And given the lightness of this cigar, I would say that the smoke aroma is definitely a key component of it. And so I personally, I know I'm smoking outside now, and that's where I smoke all my cigars, unless I'm at a lounge, but this would be a better lounge cigar, less than an outdoor cigar, just because of the fact that I'm just losing so much of it. But anyway, call in. Let us know your thoughts on that. Area code 863-874-0000. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to drone on and on forever because, you know, I don't want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and get this edited and uploaded so that you guys have it fresh on Tuesday morning, and we'll go from there. So anyway, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Stay safe and stay smoky. Take it easy, guys.